Kristen, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to talk about this topic. It is really close to my heart. What we're talking today about is preparing for the postpartum period. Now, a lot of women going into pregnancy and going into that postpartum time have no idea what they're getting into. I didn't. I had no idea. I went through med school and residency, and friends had kids, and my brother had kids. Not a clue what I was getting myself into. Don't get me wrong, it was incredible. But whoa, those babies, they take a lot of your time, a lot of it, and you're exhausted and have no idea what you're doing, but it's incredible. So I think it's a really good idea that we start talking to moms-to-be and their partners about how can we better prepare for that early postpartum period, because you need to make things as simple as possible. And those first few weeks to a month, all you need to be focusing on is your baby and yourself, and maybe your partner in there as well, a little bit. But really focus on taking care of yourself and taking care of your baby. And there's no time for anything else. You let the laundry pile up. You let the bathroom get disgusting. It's just chaos. So how can we better prepare our moms-to-be for that first few weeks to a month when it comes to nutrition? Because that's such an important piece of that puzzle that often gets left behind.
Absolutely. So I'm so glad that you're inviting me to talk about this today, because I too am super passionate about the practicalities, like the how to make nutrition happen. Because often we know, okay, I know I should eat vegetables, I know I should eat well, but it's all about how do I make that actually happen in my busy life? And I mean, there's no time busier than when immediately after baby comes, like, yeah, it just, everything in life just is totally thrown out the window, and it's all, everything's new. And so, yeah, I'm really excited today to be talking about what you can do before baby comes to set yourself up to be able to do at least a half decent job of feeding yourself during these crazy weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember my husband, we're both pretty homebodies. We don't go out a lot. We don't do a lot of stuff. And I remember us having this discussion as I was pregnant with my first. I'm like, it'll be fine. It won't be that different. It was. So would love some tips and tricks on how to get support or how to plan. What are your kind of top ideas on how you can better prepare for that early postpartum time when it comes to nutrition?
Yeah, I really kind of group the activities into three main things. So the first one is seek help. Like the idea of the fact that you have to do everything on your own is just ridiculous. And so outsource some of that. You know, the first place to look to are the people in your life, right? Like if there's family, if you have friends, even coworkers. You know, many people love to help. If you just ask, if you just let them know what you would find helpful, they would be very happy to do that. And so, you know, have this conversation ahead of time and say, you know, would you be able to drop off some food for me, you know, once baby comes? That's a great shower gift, you know, and especially during these COVID times, maybe we can't come together and gather for a shower. Like maybe you set up, you know, like a little schedule of like, you know, your friend Susie from work drops off something for you on Mondays, and your mother-in-law on Wednesdays, and, you know, your best friend Kevin on Saturdays, and that sort of thing. So then they're, you know, it's such a heartfelt thing that many of us, you know, sharing food is our love language. And so a lot of people would be very happy to make food and bring it over. And you don't even have to come in the house. We can do it COVID friendly where they're just dropping it, you know, at the front stoop or wherever. But, you know, a lot of people would love to, you know, drop off some food for you. And, you know, that can really go a long way, that you just need to warm it up.
I often say to women, especially not COVID time, is if you're going to have visitors, put them to work. And people want to help. They just don't know how to sometimes. So it's a bit more challenging these COVID times that we can't really kind of have them come in and do our laundry or clean our kitchen or cook us meals. But there's certain ways that we can get them to help. Go pick up some groceries and drop them off, or bake a delicious meal that you know is healthy and nutritious. And you can even send people kind of ideas if you want. If you have a very specific kind of diet, you can send them some ideas and just ask them to do that. And they'll do the best they can. May not be perfect. That's okay. But their heart is in the right place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then something else that I think is actually like a silver lining, I guess I'm an optimist with COVID, is that another source of support for that is to do the online grocery shopping, to set up the grocery delivery. You know, this was something that I was often recommending to people, and people kind of knew happened, but they hadn't really jumped on board. And then now with COVID, I mean, people are jumping on board with it. So, you know, definitely look into the grocery delivery. I mean, maybe you still want to be able to, you know, choose your individual tomatoes and things like that, but you don't need to be spending your time, you know, picking up the bag of rice from the shelf and picking up the can of beans from the shelf. Like, anybody can be doing that. So, you know, do the online groceries. And a lot of them even have like kind of standard baskets that come every week. So if you know there's certain things you buy every single week that are just standard, you know, that's a great thing to do with an online grocery shop. And then maybe you just buy like kind of the fresh things, you know, but it really reduces the amount of time and the number of things you need to be getting when you are at the store. And then another way of grocery delivery as well is that a lot of the like farmers or have, like they call it CSA in my world, so it's community supported agriculture. But basically you pre-buy a season worth of like veggie boxes from your local farmer. I've even seen fishermen do that too. So like you can get seafood ones too. And I think that's really cool. So that like arriving to you or at like a designated pickup spot is a whole box full of cool vegetables. And it's great for the farmer because then they have like the subscriber system. They have people they know are going to be buying their vegetables. So it's easier for them from a business point of view, but it's so fantastic for you because arriving at your front door are amazing vegetables and the most beautiful fresh things. And often
and there's so much, those fresh veggies that haven't been shipped are so much more delicious and healthy for you as well. Yeah, for sure.
And they last longer in the fridge too, from a practical point of view.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, because they haven't sat around for a week arriving on the truck.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I know that we've started definitely going to our farmers markets more, trying to get more fresh, like local produce to support our local people. So when you have a new baby, maybe going out to a farmers market is not the easiest, but as they get a little bit older, it's nice. It's a beautiful walk. You just get your local stuff. Everything's socially distanced, or you send your partner down to pick up the box you ordered online, whatever that looks like. But yeah.
Yeah, and some of them deliver, and especially with some of the restaurants closed and things like that, a lot of their people who would normally be buying their vegetables aren't buying them in their quantities. And so some even new farmers are going into this model in order to, you know, because they need to keep in business, and we want our local farmers to stay in business. So it's a great way to show that support, but also, you know, bring in fresh food into your house so you don't have to go grocery shopping for it.
Yeah. Another thing that I've tried during this time is those meal delivery services. So like Fresh Prep or Good Food Box. I forget what they're all called. But that was actually pretty healthy and helpful. And that really only took 30 minutes, and it gives you a little bit more variety. So if you do like to cook, but you don't want to do all of the kind of prep work and stuff just because you don't have that time, that's another great option. Some of them came with a lot more garbage than the other. So a bit of it's trying it out, but we definitely tried Fresh Prep from Vancouver, and that was less garbage. So that was good. And a little bit local. So maybe another idea. And again, a great virtual baby shower gift would be giving somebody a couple of those meals a week for a month or something.
That's exactly when I'm invited to a baby shower, that's the sort of gift that you get from me.
Oh, good. I love it. I'm going to start doing that. Not that any of my friends are having babies, but you know. Yeah. Okay. So we've got our help lined up and our ideas to make that a little bit easier. What can people do themselves to prepare?
Absolutely. So the first thing is to stock your freezer, stock your pantry. And again, I think this is kind of a cool thing during COVID. It's made us realize how much value there is in there and how important it is to stock those up, our kitchens up with food. And so, you know, do that thinking about, okay, what can I stock in my freezer? What can I stock in my pantry to set myself up? So pantry staples, things like, you know, getting, you know, your brown rice and your noodles and your cans of tomato sauce and your dry beans and all those kind of staple things in there so that you can just quickly whip up meals. And then pre-cooking stuff for your freezer. The freezer is such a valuable asset, and so many people really don't use it for much, right? There's maybe some ice cream, some ice cubes in there, and that's like about it. But it's not just the place for treats. It's actually a really important source like for planning to eat healthfully. So one thing is, while you're pregnant, do some big batch meals and freeze them up, soups, stews, lasagna, that sort of stuff, cook some big batches and freeze those in individual portions now.
And that doesn't have to be a lot of work either, because you've got 9 months to prepare. So you can kind of, I don't know how long stuff lasts in the deep freeze, not long in my house, but over the 3 months leading up, you could certainly do that relatively easily once a week even.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have the chest freezer or you have room for one, get one. They're amazing. But even if you just have, the regular fridge one, you can still have some good stuff in there.
Just be organized well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Label, date. Yeah. All of that. And then you can also do what I call meal components too, that you don't have to necessarily just freeze like already prepared meals, but cook a big batch of brown rice and freeze some. Cook a batch of beans from dry and freeze it. Maybe, get the family pack of chicken breasts and then cook a whole bunch up and put them in the freezer. Things like that. Getting some frozen vegetables, frozen fruit, so that you can kind of pull them out and whip something up. I used to travel a ton. I was kind of living half in Vancouver, half in Victoria, and traveling a ton. And so I always would have like brown rice, frozen beans in my freezer, so that when my first day back from being on the road, I wouldn't have to stop at the grocery store like on the way home from the ferry. And so I would get like, just the next day would probably be like brown rice and beans with like a stir fry frozen mix. And I would make a stir fry from that. Yeah. Is it gourmet? Is it going on Instagram? No, but is it like mindless and I can put a good meal together that's healthy and does the trick? Yes. Yeah. So that's really important.
Perfect. So another thing that I think a lot of new moms and dads struggle with is do you actually sit down for a good healthy meal? And usually the case is no. You're eating on the run, you're eating while boobing your baby. And so how can we kind of create some easy snack ideas or healthy things that you can grab and go when you're just trying to kind of keep everything together?
Absolutely. Yeah. As you said, like the actual sit down half-hour meal across the table, is pretty rare in those days. And so it's kind of just like grazy kind of mini meal type of foods. Yeah. And so what I recommend is, again, you can be spending some of your time and that's some of the stuff that you're preparing and putting in the freezer. Things like a healthy breakfast cookie that doesn't have to just be for breakfast, but like oats and dried fruits and nuts and seeds, in one cookie. That's what maybe you can eat while, as you said, you got baby on the boob on one hand, you can eat that on the other hand, you're doing pretty well. I also love mini egg frittatas. It's like a crustless quiche that you do in a muffin tin, and they freeze well, right? So you could imagine you could warm one of those up. You could eat it with the one hand. It's quite handy. Again, you can freeze that. I also love, if you're a smoothie drinker, you can even make like little pre-made smoothie packs in your Ziploc baggie and put everything you like in there and put that just already ordered, in the freezer, so that when you have a moment, you just pull out the baggie and you blend it up. So you don't even have to be gathering things and making the smoothie. So those are all kind of great things you can do in the freezer. But the way to kind of prepare is, I would say, sit down ahead of time, like while you're pregnant, and brainstorm this list. Because not only will you not really have time postpartum to make big meals, but even like in that exhaustion, being able to brainstorm ideas is going to be hard.
Baby brain is a real thing.
Right? I mean, it happens when you're pregnant, and then guess what? You're going to be even more sleep deprived.
And then it goes to toddler brain and school-age brain, teenager brain.
Exactly. So sit down and literally brainstorm a list, like literally write it out. Maybe you put it in the kitchen. Maybe you keep it in the phone, like as a memo, but have it written down. So that when you're exhausted and you can't even think straight, you can just at least look at the list and you can be like, veggies and hummus. Right. Okay. That I can do.
So good. So good. Awesome, Kristen. So we've talked about 1, asking for help, 2, getting prepared, And 3, brainstorming pre-delivery about easy, simple snacks that you can have, creating a list, putting it somewhere easy. Those are some awesome tips. Now, I'm pretty sure you have a cookbook that might come in handy for some of that preparing. Is that right?
I sure do. Yeah, my first cookbook came out in the fall. It's called the Easy Sugar Detox Cookbook. And yeah, I've got mini egg frittatas as an example in there. I have little power balls that, again, you could make up, and they've got lentils and they're beautiful. They can put them in the freezer. So just some examples there, as well as some great big batch meals and amazing spaghetti sauce, chilies that would freeze up really well. And so that I've got available. You can get it your local bookstore to order it in, or order it off of Amazon. And if you do order off of Amazon, it'd be great if you can show me a little support and go through my website through to Amazon, the link I've got on my website there, because when you do it that way, I get a little bit of income from that at no extra cost to you. And my website is kristenyarker.com.
And we'll make sure to link that in the show notes. Now, I also imagine you probably have some handy tips and tricks that you put on your social media accounts. Can you tell us where we can find you?
Sure thing. So I'm most active on YouTube these days. I post a new tip YouTube every week, as well as once a month I do a cookbook review. So if you're looking for some cookbook ideas, I go in-depth review on those. And that's at Bite K Nutrition on YouTube, VITK Nutrition. On Instagram, I'm at Kristen Yarker, and on Facebook, I'm at Kristen Yarker Nutrition.
Very cool. So we will link all of that in the show notes. So Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. Some amazing tips for our mamas preparing for delivery in the postpartum period. And I think a little bit of preparation can go a huge way during that, as we already discussed, somewhat challenging time. So thank you very much for joining us today. It was lovely chatting.
Thanks for inviting me to share with your community.